You're listening to Free Zone Radio.
For Free Zone Radio, I'm Jason Crockett, and this is With Honors Season 3. During his trial in Athens in 399 BC, Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." That famous idea means that a life without deep thought, self-reflection, and the pursuit of wisdom lacks true human meaning. For this week, we continue with Part 2, now having that conversation with our seniors in AP Lit. Why this summer reading? Why these novels? What does this have to do with our school year? How does this frame what we do for the rest of our year and maybe our lives? One of the expectations of the class is that you are writers, and writers got to write. You are going to write frequently. You are going to rewrite frequently. Writing is an organic process. It is never, ever, ever meant to be a once and done thing. That was something that I had to get over as a student. I wasn't used to thinking like that. I always say there is no preacher so effective as the sinner who has been redeemed. And I myself have been a sinner of English classrooms. I waited till the night before to write my essays. And I learned bad problems from that. I skipped class and did not go to class and made bad problems from that. So I had to overcome some obstacles to become a better person. I made some bad choices that haunted me along the way. And this is just a truth that gets handed down. The more you put into it, the more you practice at it, the better you become over things. The course expects you to be a writer and a rewriter and a rewriter of things. So we are frequently going to be creating that kind of content in here. But we're also students of 2026, and there's all sorts of methods of creating content. And one of those outlets is a class podcast. And podcasting equipment is so cheap nowadays. It is so cheap. Anybody can have their own podcast. So you all should be out there like creating your own content about whatever. You want to create it about, I don't know, Legos and video games? You should do it. You want to create it about Frida McFadden and your fan club? Whatever. You should totally do it. You guys need to see what podcasting looks like, what we expect out of it, and we model those expectations, just like with the essays. So today is kind of like the real day one of class, where we are modeling a podcast for you. The thing about podcasting is that a lot of times people are terrified to sit at the microphone. Yesterday afternoon, I had some former students come by and record a kind of reflective conversation with me. And even though they are some very out loud personalities, they're brilliant people, they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is for real. This is for real. There's microphones and everything." Ugh. And they sit here and are like, "Oh no, I hear my voice." And they get real terrified to hear their voice in the headphones on the mic. But just like with everyone else, in no time at all, that faded away. It evaporated. And they were like, "Oh, well, I can talk." And naturally, conversation just erupted back and forth. You talk to your friends at lunch. You talk to your friends in class. It should never, ever, ever be any different than what you do in a podcast. This is an opportunity for you to talk intelligently, funny, heartwarming, whatever, about things that you know to be true. We are doing an episode today that kind of sums up the summer reading experience for you. Why ask students to read all of these things? I told Drew Haston that with the Odyssey and the Alchemist, that's what I have my sophomores read, that I really feel like I've just beaten that Trojan horse to death, that we have been over the Odyssey all summer long. And I was like, how do you sum this up? But it kept coming to my mind, we haven't talked about why we're doing this. I could have had you all read anything for summer vacation. I always assign a summer reading assignment, and it could have been anything. Last year, they read a beautiful novel. You should definitely read it sometime. It's called Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Hurston is among my Mount Rushmore of writers. She is amazing. And then the year before that, they read, oh golly, what did they read? The year before that, they read A Midsummer Night's Dream and something else. I could have had you read anything. So why these two? And it kept coming back to the whole why. We haven't talked about the rationale for that. My justification is why? Because literature is supposed to be like a mirror that we hold up to society. My books are not here to tell you what to think about anything. They're here to hold up a mirror and just ask you, what do you think about anything? Like, what's your expectation about anything? Do you know characters like this? Have you ever been in situations like this? How are we supposed to handle people like this? What happens when? And then it becomes something that we talk about all semester long. It is supposed to be the foundation for everything we do this year, whether it's in poetry, novels, short stories, whatever. This is supposed to be the foundation that we keep drawing it back to. This year, I selected for you The Importance of Being Earnest as a comedy and The Kite Runner as not a tragedy. What do we call it? Yeah. A what? Realistic fiction. A heartbreaker. It's a tearjerker, something like that. But it is a novel, and really, 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 it's all about us. I did not live in Victorian England, and yet I totally get Ernest and Lady Bracknell and all of them. I did not live in the 2000s in Kabul, Afghanistan. But really, 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 I know these kids. I know these people. I know what they're going through. And it doesn't matter if you're in Gatsby or if you're in Julius Caesar or if you're in Macbeth or whatever. People are people are people. And this becomes our baseline for the year. So I wanted us to talk about some of our real life expectations, like real life experiences that are not so different from our characters here. As my guest and I talk through it today, I would love for you to use either the back of that note card or wherever. I don't care. The back of the note card if you've got room, or maybe on a scratch sheet of paper if you don't have room. That I want you to either jot down, oh, I really like how you talked about blank, or, oh, you didn't bring this up. What about blah, 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 blah. Or I have a question. I don't understand why you would have said blah, 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 whatever about things. And then at the end of it, we're going to do a Q&A session and you talk about it. Who's got questions? Nope, you're ready?
No, I'm not.
So I wanted to talk about big picture concepts. This year you read Kite Runner and The Importance of Being Earnest. But really, 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 these things are about us and looking at our lives through the experiences of Bunburys and things that we've done in our life. A thing that I noticed is important across both books is that with literature as a lens for life, right? It comes back to the masks that we wear over and over and over. In The Kite Runner, Amir is wearing a mask to please his father, right? And Jack Worthing is wearing a mask to pretend to be so-and-so. Algernon's wearing a mask to pretend to be so-and-so. But Lady Bracknell's also wearing a mask to fit into a certain role. And even back again in Kite Runner, you've got Amir, but also Baba is wearing a mask. And Asef at times is wearing a mask too. So all of us are doing this. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you have been wearing a mask in front of other people?
I would say yes. Back in, it was my freshman year, I felt like, no, let me rephrase it. Back in middle school, I had imposter syndrome. I thought that I was incompetent. And people saw me as, they put me on a pedestal almost. The way that they would think that I was some kind of genius. I was not a genius. And it was it was rough.
There's times like that, sure. When people in your class expect you to be a certain thing.
That was part of it too, especially the expectations. It was awful.
When people in your family expect you to be a certain thing. When people in your church or your job or whatever expect you to be a certain thing. Did you find it comfortable wearing the mask?
I mean, comfortable in the sense that I got by day to day, but not comfortable as in true to self.
Yeah. But I would also wager that's not the only mask you were wearing at the time or even now, because you're trying to fit their expectations for something. But then when you're hanging out with your friends outside of school, you're wearing a different mask. When you're at church, when you're with your parents, when you're, I don't know, with the person you're in love with, or when you're online playing games against other people, whatever, we wear masks left and right. What masks do you think Jason Crockett wears during the day?
A kind of confidence that you need to do well in your job. Especially if you have, say, not an inspector, you're getting, not inspected. What's the supervised?
Oh, yeah, supervised, observed, all of
that's
that.
the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. I could see that. And then you're dealing with sophomores. Now, at the beginning of the year, they're basically those freshmen if we're rounding it.
Right.
And so you kind of need to have a maturity where you can't just be one of them.
Oh, my gosh, you are right. You are right.
They need to respect you, and you need to maintain that.
Yeah. But I have to do that with my seniors, too. Like my fifth block came for class the first time the other day, and I've never had any of these kids in my class before. And it's like, I don't know exactly what kind of teacher they're going to need me to be, but I always tell them, I'm going to be the teacher you ultimately need me to be. And if you can handle a chill class where he teaches you some stuff, you laugh at his jokes, we learn our stuff, and then you can sit at tables, great. But if you need him to be Mr. Crockett ISS, then we have to be that class too. So I have to wear a different mask. And then when my administrators come in to observe me, then I have to wear a different mask, because then no jokes at all. He's got to be on the point, talking about his standards and all of that jazz. Yeah. I also have to wear masks when I go in front of my family, right? When you're in front of your parents, it's not the same thing as when you're in front of your own children as when you're in front of whoever else. We wear masks a lot of different times. What about in the reading? Who stands out most to you as like what masks they wore?
Let's say Algernon.
Why? Algae?
Not Algernon, sorry, Jack.
Oh,
Because
Jack Worthing.
He's very torn between caring for his word, Cecily? Not Cecily.
Cecily. Yeah.
And being a more free agent, more of a free person in the city. And I think both are masks in a way, because he's having to go to one extreme and then the other.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another thing that comes up for me is just a tangent that runs alongside that we often find ourselves having to work to live up to other people's expectations.
Yes.
Do you have to do that?
Yes, a lot.
Can you tell about it?
Of course.
She's like, let me spill the tea.
Yeah. So in my family, it's kind of like a lot of different, just like insanely exceptional people. So like my grandfather is a genius. He was at the top of his school rankings. He owned a medicine like clinic thing, and that he's just like thinks everything's easy and has very high expectations. And then another way that's equally as challenging is sports wise. My father got All-American in high school, and I didn't start sports until the end of my freshman year because my mom didn't allow me to, because I had to watch my siblings through my childhood. So I do not have the same abilities that other people my age do, and it's a lot harder to be able to get to where I need to be. And my father's just like, it's easy. Like, you need to be able to read the field. And I'm like, how can I read the field if I've never been on the field? Like,
it always seems so much easier on the other side of it once you learn to do it.
Of course. And just like social skills and everything you do, really, there's expectations for a specific way that you're supposed to be able to do it.
Yeah. You're the oldest child, aren't you?
Kinda.
Okay.
I have an adopted sister.
Yeah.
She was.
Is she older or younger?
She's older.
She's older. Okay.
But she was not. She set the example in a bad way.
Oh,
so
okay.
my expectations are a lot higher. She had a lot more free reign as a teenager, and that took it from me. And now I'm expected to just be like.
Isn't it funny how it comes back to that when it's like other people have also helped set that expectation that now I have to be the one to deal with this?
Yeah. And then now that my brother has a older sister that is mature and like listens, he gets to do so much more stuff than I do because I try to make sure that he can have like a good high school experience. So I'm like, come hang out with me and my friends. As a freshman, 8th grader, I was never allowed to do that stuff.
Yeah. But then that generation gets to, and then how many younger siblings?
I have 2 younger brothers.
Oh, so there's a baby one too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, we all were raised extremely differently.
Buddy, this is how the universe works. That the older sibling right here, and I say that as the oldest brother and the oldest grandchild of one branch of my family, that we always have to bear the burden of responsibility. They always come at us like, I expected better of you, Jason.
Yeah, it's really, so when I was like 9, I had more chores and expectations than I've ever had in my life. Like I have less expectations now than I did when I was like 11 and 9.
Who in the Kite Runner is having to live up to expectations like that?
Amir.
How so?
Well, he has the identity of his father just constantly placed in his brain.
Yeah.
Like he's just everything that he does, like that opening scene where he's like, if I didn't see him come out of like the womb of my wife, I would not like that is hard to hear.
That if I didn't see him born, I wouldn't have believed that was my own kid.
Yeah.
So that's tough. I mean, for Amir to hear that is tough, but also knowing that my father is such a legendary person in the community and I have to somehow be like him. I always tell students that I know that when we start off the year, I ask, don't I know your sibling? Don't I know who you're related to? But really, 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 that's kind of unfair. Because if you had an older sibling, do you have an older sibling, Abby? You do? That's right, you do. Oh my gosh, I forgot this. One of my first online AP students, right? Yeah. So if I was like, well, why can't you be more like your sister? That's an unfair comparison. That's absolutely unfair because you're your own person, right? If your sister had come through and had been like stellar, all A's kind of student, everybody expects you to be the same way. But also, if your sister came through and was a nightmare, everybody expects you're going to be the same kind of way. And then people treat you that way, and it becomes a self-fulfilling kind of promise, right? So Amir has to live up to these unreasonable expectations. Yeah. What about Brontostegosaurus here? What about, you talk about some of the people that we get compared to. Friendship is a kind of mirror too. Have you ever thought about how the friends that you have in your life kind of define who you are too? Do your friends define you in any way?
I would say so, yeah.
You think so? Your friends define you? How do they define you?
Well, for starters, most of my friends are a lot smarter than me, indicating that I have to get on their level. Also, a couple of them were more athletic. So, but I was always taught to be the smallest person in the room to allow yourself to grow. So that's who I centered around myself.
I don't know why you all are not adding that to your quote books. Be the smallest person in the room so you have room to grow.
Well, not height-wise, obviously.
Not height-wise, that's true. For sure. Everybody, Miss Hawkins, give her a hand. What about you? Do your friends ever act like a mirror for you in a way? Do they ever reflect qualities of you, or do they ever cause you to be a better or whatever different kind of person?
Yeah.
Like what?
I think I've been in situations before and it's gotten better as I've aged. Gracefully. But I can remember as a kid, I would say things or do things that were out of my character, but I did so I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to go back and tell a fun story.
Yeah.
I did things out of my character because I wanted to impress somebody, or I was reflecting what they did in some way. But I will say this, that there was a former student of mine who was a delinquent, and I have him on Facebook now, and so he made a post. He's turned his life around, and he said those things that I just said, and he said, "Wait, I want to stop you right there. Every choice I made was my own choice." So,
Kid has grown and accepted
he has
responsibility.
grown, and I said, "Can you come give a lecture to our students?"
Do you know that kind of anticipates one of the Kite Runner questions I wanted to talk about is because, especially with seniors, we talk so much about being an adult, being an adult, being an adult, and how seniors are, well, I'm 18, I'm an adult, treat me like an adult. But sometimes you don't act that way. Society can say adulthood starts at 18. But especially now in the 2020s, you look around, how many 18-year-olds are really adults? How many 40-year-olds are really adults? So what's the demarcation line for adulthood? When does somebody become an adult? Because I don't think it's the number itself.
No, I don't think it's the number itself. Gosh, I also think, when I got married when I was 21. I turned 22 right after, but I got married. We owned a house. We owned a car. I was paying my own bills at that point. But was I always making I also would get fudge rounds every time I went to the store. And was that a good adult choice? Was a fudge round a good adult choice?
I really don't think the fudge round is. I don't think that's
It's when you stop buying the fudge rounds. That's when you become the adult.
We're going to write a book, and that's going to be
the title.
That's the wisdom, when you stop buying the fudge rounds. So it's about being responsible.
Sure.
With your money.
Maybe.
Being responsible with your choices. What about in the Kite?
But do you feel like, I have a question for you. This is off topic.
Oh, okay.
It's on topic, but off topic. Do you feel like you've become more an adult? I feel like when I hit my 40s.
Oh, yeah.
That was the time for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had all of my children by then.
Yeah. Everybody talks about how your 20s are the most fantastic thing and everything. But for me, 30s were also awesome. But it really wasn't until I was later in my 30s or early 40s that I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm an adult now.
And you kind of know yourself better, I think, when you hit your 40s.
There it is. Knowing yourself. That came up too. So, like, what do I know about myself when I'm in my 40s that I didn't when I was in my 20s?
Right.
And I know because you've had to see, I was talking to Drew earlier about this, that at some point you realize some of your friends are not right for you.
Sure.
That they're either holding you back or they're toxic or they're bad people.
Or they're in a different place.
They're in a different place. And their choices could be like ruining you. Like they're making some bad choices that you're getting dragged down by because you are in part the company that you keep, right?
Oh yeah.
The groups you hang out with. We've had a senior student years ago that I saw him all the time. He was a great kid in class, but you're always going to the bathroom with that group of guys. I know you're hanging out with that group of guys and they are going to leave you hanging one day. And then you came to tell me, hey, he's in my office right now because he got busted and they ditched him and he was left holding all the stuff.
Yeah, and he was a great kid.
And he's a great kid. And then you said to go see him and I walked into your office and he started crying when he saw me and I was like, I told you, dude. Like you are in part defined by who you're with. So you come to realize that part of growing up is having to have the responsibility to account for what you've done and not keeping the same troublesome mistakes over and over. Also quit making the same mistakes.
Also quit dating trashy people.
Amen. Nobody's going to say amen in here to that. Quit dating trashy people. I would agree with that there's got to be some responsibility to it. When does Amir finally become an adult? Because by the time they move to America, like he goes to school, he gets married in America, he has in-laws in America, but I don't know, when does he become an adult?
Is it when he goes back? I mean, it's when he goes back, but the argument would be, is it also when he let it go at the end?
I had two answers, but I like that as my third answer. Going back and having to be accountable for what you've done, that there is a way to be good again, only an adult's going to do that. The kid's going to keep running away from their problems, but he's got to accept his responsibility.
Right.
And also to take his licks. You can't just say, it's like Claudius. He can't just say, I'm sorry. You have to atone for this.
Right.
But yeah, letting it go too. Once you've made that effort, you also have to let things be what they're going to be.
Right.
And know that you can't change everything. Ooh.
That's the sticky part.
Yeah, Drew and I have been on this tangent about planting a garden. You can't really if you're in it, if you're stuck in Babylon and the city is wicked and corrupt and you can't change the city, you can plant a garden. And the same thing here. You can't necessarily change everything about your circumstances, but you can plant a garden. Well, you've gone back and you've gotten so robbed. The best you can do right now is plant a garden and hope it bears fruit.
So Craig Lynn, at his funeral,
yeah.
I'll just say someone came up to him and said, how are we going to get through this? And he said, you've just got to keep going.
Yeah.
You've got to move beyond it. You've got to make it the best that you can.
Yeah.
But that was you've just got to keep going.
Yeah. My third option was when Amir's at dinner with General Tahiri and them, and Tahiri is running his mouth, and Amir finally has to stand up to the icon, General Tahiri, and say, you will not talk about him that way. This is my family, my house. That's another moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You have to let go of, we've all had people in our past who we just kind of bowed to whatever they thought, and kind of drifted from it.
Yeah. I don't know if you've had this happen in your children yet, but buckle in, because one day it will happen when they confront you.
No, my children are perfect. They'll never do that. My kids would never do that.
Years ago, I was always having to get onto my kids about stuff. And, oh my gosh, Andy, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And he was driving home from something, and I was on the phone yelling at him. And then I said, just get home. And I was waiting in the parking lot area. And when he got out, I said, buddy, and I was about to apologize. And he cut me off and said, Dad, I really don't want to hear it. And then he got up to me and was like, you don't know what happened today, and let me tell you about blah, 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 blah. And I stood there and I said, you're right. And I apologize. And Andy and I have had a different relationship since that day, because that was part of becoming an adult. I was wrong for treating him like some nincompoop little child. That, I don't know, it's a weird moment.
Did you get apologized to a lot as a child?
Ooh. I don't think I did. So maybe I'm waiting on that. Maybe that's what it is. That leads me to my last thing on here, that sometimes shadows are really, really long, like the long shadow of the past that keeps following you into the future. In Gladiator, he says what we do in life echoes throughout eternity. And sometimes what you do in your childhood helps determine the kind of adult you're going to be. What was done to you as a child kind of fulfills how you're going to be as a student in high school and an employee one day.
As a parent, how you're going to be as a parent.
Maybe if you were not apologized to a whole lot, then maybe that shows up in your adulthood.
You apologize more because you know.
Because you know. I was trying to think about, obviously, Amir. What is it that Amir is really, really, really struggling with as he's on his path to becoming an adult?
Amir struggled with what others thought of him. That was always his. And don't you think that's a part of childhood, that you do have that struggle?
Yeah.
And so his dad, what did his dad think of him? And it was and shame.
Yeah.
So he really struggled with shame. But that goes back to what his expectations were and what others thought of him and what he wanted their perception to be.
Yeah. We are so often these characters. Like, that's why I was telling them that we pick these novels and these plays, is because they're not telling us what to think, but we look at them. And I've never lived in Afghanistan, but I know this kid. And I've never lived in Victorian England, but I know these people. Like, we see ourselves over and over and over. It's about our people. Everybody give Miss Hawkins a hand. Give Miss Hawkins a hand. We'll be here all week.
That's
Thanks.
right. And next year.
Be sure to tip your waitress on the way out today. With Honors is a Free Zone radio production, created here in Sparta, Tennessee. If you enjoyed this content, please, please, please give us a like, share the link with someone you know, or give us a 5-star rating, and hit that subscribe button for more. Word of mouth might be the best advertising, but clicking like and subscribe really does help keep us afloat and visible in all the platforms. And we want to keep working to bring you even more episodes next season. And go listen to this week's episodes from our other show, Second Stage, and our brother podcast, A Dead Man's Books. They make for great listening while you're tanning by the pool, or mowing the yard, or driving on that 8-hour family trip. You can find all our shows here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to great content.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Dead Man's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books. And of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time. But I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. This is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.